know about Association of Indian Management Schools? It's a 34-year-old networking body of B schools in India, having a membership of about 600 top management institutions. AIMS focuses on professionalization of management education, protects interests of B schools, represents management institutions at national and international forums, financially supports members in academic events, funds research projects on management, disseminates management-related knowledge through its annual Management Education Convention, conferences, seminars, roundtables and workshops, organizes free weekly webinars on knowledge sharing and inspiring young leaders sessions for management faculty and students, supports B schools in admissions through ATMA, AIMS test for management admissions. Visit https://atmaims.com for more details. Publishes a biannual AIMS Journal of Management. Visit https://aimsjournal.com for more details. Circulates a quarterly e-newsletter on AIMS activities. Conducts workshops on case writing. Encourages AIMS members to be part of decision-making processes as members of chapter management committees and the executive board. Encourages students' participation in free weekly quiz competitions by providing support to interested institutions. Facilitates networking and interaction among B schools. Why would you like to remain a non-member of AIMS? Pay a very low one-time membership fee and enjoy many lifetime benefits. Visit https://aims.org.in for more details.
Good afternoon to all participants. Today's virtual session being held on the topic analytics for business decision making. It's an immense pleasure today for me as a moderator of this session. I feel very proud that AIMS, Association of Indian Management School, is doing a lot of contribution to the academic fraternity by conducting this kind of programs for disseminating the knowledge for the academics and practitioners. Is very good initiative. If I have not wrong, this effort has been started more than 1 year after COVID. So really I am appreciating the efforts which are taken by the AIMS for helping and contributing to the academia and industry people. Today I am moderator. Myself, Dr. D Maheswara Reddy. By qualification, MBA, MPhil, PhD. My specialization is finance. I am from Sri Krishnadevara University, Andhra Pradesh, Anantapuram. I had 24 years of experience, which includes teaching and research experience. I graded 5 PhDs, 1 MPhil. My core area of teaching is finance and related courses, and also advanced research methodology, both for MBA students and PhD students and scholars. I trained more than 800 people from various platforms as a resource person. Now it's time to introduce today's speaker, Dr. P. Mohan. Today's topic is analytics for business decision making. He is the resource person. I am happy to introduce you. Thank you, Mohan, being accepted for today's this session.
Yeah.
And, Mr. Mohan is a postgraduate in computer science from Usmania University, and he has 23 years of experience including industry, corporate consulting and academic research. He trained several public and private government sector personnel across diverse vertical related to IT applications for top-notch organizations like NTPC, MMDC, ONGC, DRDO, DHL, West Bengal Power Corporation, TS Genco, Tehri Hydro Power Corporation, Septam, etc. Mr. Mohan brings with him the rich experience of industrial application of machine learning and data science across various business verticals spanning from manufacturing to banking, insurance to healthcare, retail segments to to travel, tourism, and hospitality. I feel it's a great privilege for me to introduce him. He is the Chief Advisor in the areas of data science, artificial intelligence for information technology division at Engineering Staff College of India, Hyderabad. And he is also a member of Board of Studies for Department of Computer Science and Engineering at G Narayanam Institute of Technology at Hyderabad. And he is a knowledge resource and chief mentor for National Institute of Smart Governance in the areas of data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, fintech, emerging technologies, and technology tourism. He is a Board of Studies member of Department of Commerce and Business Management for the esteemed Dr. Mohan Babu University, Tirupati. He is the Board of Studies member, PGDM Data Science, Ashoka School of Business, Hyderabad. He is a mentor in data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence for BHL, corporate R&D. He is also visiting knowledge resource in the areas of data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence for the esteemed VIT University Chennai and SRM University Chennai and MNR Medical College, Hyderabad, in the areas of applied statistical research for the branch of community medicine. He has also trained several aspiring research scholars, faculty members, and students from American University of Sharjah and the University of Sydney and Australia. So this is a brief profile of Mr. P. Mohan. He is really a versatile person in the technology domain, IT and machine learning. Today's topic is data analytics for business decision making. See, nowadays, the data is very crucial for any business organizations, for any business verticals. Nowadays, data has become an important asset for business organizations which intend to create a value out of the data, of their own data, in different forms. That's why nowadays the data analytics gaining prominence in the areas of academics, particularly in the management stream and PCDM stream, MBA stream. This area gives a lot of opportunities for the students after gaining a lot of knowledge from the business analytics as a entry level, and also gives lot of business value for the management institutions by giving the specialization in business analytics for students. And also it gives immense employment opportunities. The people who have a good amount of knowledge in the business analytics, like PGDM or MBA, they can find a good employment position in the management institutes like IIMs and next tier 2 level institutions, right? And so data analytics, as per my knowledge, because today I am a moderator, I don't have much knowledge about the data analytics and business analytics, but whatever a bit of knowledge about the data analytics is examining the data of the business verticals in different ways and in different forms, so that they can understand the value of the decision, value of the data in the business, so that they can take effective decisions for the business to create or enhance the business value. That's how data plays a role. Nowadays, several organizations treated the data as an important resource or important asset of the business to create the value of their own businesses. So in this backdrop, data analytics gaining a prominence in the academia and industry, it will be double-edged weapon useful for both industry and as well as academic institutions and scholars and students. So as per my knowledge, being a moderator here, so data analytics of 4 types: descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. This descriptive analytics of one's business data is exploration of data, what patterns are there in the data, means what happened in the data, how you are going to treat that data for creating the value of business. And next one is a diagnostic analytics. It addresses the next level of question, that is why did this happen? This is very, very important. Why? What should be the root cause for these happenings? So that's what diagnostic analytics will reveal. And predictive analytics, this identifies what might happen in the future for your business by understanding your own existing data. And lastly, but not least, prescriptive analytics. This analytics information immensely helps the business people or industry people to understand the scenarios of business, what is going to happen in the next level, and how you are going to formulating the decision which triggers the solution for the future business scenarios which are supposed to be unpredicted. So this is my knowledge on the data analytics. Data analytics, how data analytics turned into business analytics, simply application of data analytics in business data that becomes the business analytics. So business analytics is a branch of information technology which provides a lot of information for the learners, disciples to understand the business scenarios. So now with this, I'm closing my remarks on the initiation of the topic. Now I welcome all the participants once again in the session, real-time session and virtual session. And our resource person, Dr. D Mohan, is eagerly waiting to interact with you. He is excited to interact with you first time virtually through the platforms of AIMS. So we both are very privileged today to got this opportunity in the virtual platform to disseminate the speaker knowledge to the participants today, right? And I am also happy to be the moderator today. With this, I will hand over the mic to the today's speaker, Dr. P. Mohan. Dr. P. Mohan, sir, we are requesting on behalf of the AIMS and as a moderator, and we are expecting, and we are also as a participants exciting for your interactive sessions with case studies and whatever possible in this time constraint. We are expecting, and participants also expecting the best of best from your interactive sessions. Thank you, Mohan. Hand over to Mohan. Mohan will speak to you.
Yes. Well, thank you, Maheswara Reddy, sir. And first of all, very good afternoon to all our esteemed participants who are shown their enthusiasm and the commitment to take part in this webinar. I'm privileged and honored to receive this invitation from AIMS family to be the speaker on the most happening knowledge topic, that is analytics for business decision making. I hope I'm audible to all of you clearly. Can you please confirm, sir? Can you hear you all?
Yes,
hear me?
audible.
Yeah, thank you. So, good afternoon, host. Good afternoon, participants. Good afternoon to the moderator. Throughout the session, I request all the participants to keep their microphone in mute. For any queries, you can write to us in the Zoom chat window. We are live on the chat window. We will now go through the discussions of this webinar. I'll be sharing my technical presentation with you all. And for any queries, you can write to us in chat. At the end of the session, we'll have a question and answer session also. So here I go. So once again, from AIMS family, we would welcome all our esteemed participants to this webinar on analytics for business decision making. To start with, the core of this technical discussion lies at the center of decision making. We all know that globally, the organizations around the world, irrespective of their type, size, and complexity, are all striving daily to move towards from various problems that are encountered by organizations across the world's borders. All these organizations are trying to discover a feasible solution for various problems that might arise, typically from various business processes. While this is a common phenomenon that is being experienced by the world of organizations, what is the approach? What is the roadmap, or typically the pedagogy or framework to be followed? To discover a solution for a problem or across a variety of problems, industrial practices have been relying upon over the decades and millenniums on the most trustable and reliable method called problem solving. Thus, the journey of organizations from problem to solution making is aligned across problem-solving approach. While there is a myth and a perception across the world of human and organizations and enterprises that decision-making, considered being a critical process or an entity of every organization, how would decision-making be aligned across problem-solving approach? While some organizations consider problem-solving as their priority, while every other organization would engage themselves by and large in decision-making. Nonetheless, these two entities have an interconnection between them because these two definitely challenge the capacity learning of the organizations and enterprises, because these two in their basic form are highly confusing, they are disoriented, and many organizations lose their senses on making right decisions because of the complexity of the problems they encounter. That's why these two leave the organizations bewildered. There are many angles that one needs to understand before going forward to decision making, because all the complexity starts with identifying and resolving the problems. To keep it simple, problem solving actually is identified as a state of an organization which was never expected or encountered earlier. Imagine an organization taking its daily routine business processes across its business functional units. So from a current state, that is the point where the organization currently resides in, the organization would like to transform or spearhead across a certain desired outcome. That can be a business objective. But how do organizations achieve this transformational excellence? How do organizations move towards operational excellence? Undoubtedly, the ability and capability to coin effective and efficient decisions is the need of the hour. Typically, to an organization or an individual, a decision in a professional environment or a personal living environment attributes to identifying and making right choices. While there are abundant choices by the human ecosystems and organizations, it is always imperative to derive more than two or at least two alternatives so that we can pick up the best one. Decision making then is said to be effective if the processes, businesses, and organizations are able to generate a finite and feasible list of choices from which they can have the opportunity to opt the right choice or right decision that proves to be effective and efficient. But what shall be the general model? How to keep the general model of decision making? The general model of problem solving is a phased or sequentially phased framework where the activities start from identifying a certain problem statement or a use case in real world, establishing or defining objectives which are realistic and achievable, making a kind of pre-decision like a presupposition or a well-established research inclination, trying to move towards feasible and acceptable alternatives, then try to evaluate the ones that fit into the solution for the problem, then pick up a choice, implement and test the choice whether it fits for the purpose or not, then keep following from the feedback generated from the outcome of the choice. Thus, to move towards a problem-solving approach for any kind of scenario from an industrial problem-solving point of view or research point of view, typically these are the stages or steps proposed. But why analytics is now receiving more popularity? Where is the center of attraction? Why analytics is doing the gravity there? From the industrial experience, a statement made by one of the leaders from corporate, especially Accenture, Gene Harris, said that according to his observation, 40% of the decisions taken at Accenture, an IT firm, popular IT firm, are not just based on hypothetical facts, but it is on clear observation, intuition, the experiences people gained from their implementations, and proof of work, that is, anecdotal evidences. While the statement made by this leader from the IT firm not only applies local to this organization, but it is a proven fact that the statement scales itself to the global world of organizations. But why we need analytics? Why organizations are now relying and moving towards seeking support from analytics? There are 2 pointers that one has to understand why analytics of the business is quite important. The first one is whether we are in the current scenario in today's world, or at least we forecast our own future next 100 to 200 years down the line, organizations that exist in this competitive era are definitely bound to make better decisions. The reason for aiming for better decisions is to carry out and perform better actions, while actionable decisions lead to what we call operational excellence or operational success for any and every organization. What if organizations try to align analytics into their business process? What if enterprises try to integrate analytics into their business process? What is the end benefit to the individual or organization or enterprise as a whole? Well, there are very list of all critical applications and benefits. To sum it up a few, every organization would like to now leverage on the data that are being generated by business process. As rightly told by the moderator, today all organizations lay their emphasis on data-driven decision making. While data definitely has certain value inside it that when carefully examined and unlocked, the potential comes out for critical decision making. But to really discover the science and art of the data, one needs to understand the problems that give the opportunity to this data discovery. While data discovery is a definite journey, performing better and quicker decisions based on the data insights that are extracted and actions that are carried out all shall converge to a fruitful sustainability and profitability for the organizations. Can analytics achieve this? How can analytics with the data can really steer the organizations for better decision making is the need of the hour of this webinar. Undoubtedly, the application of analytics in businesses is expanding on a scalable capacity. If you look at the industry verticals currently that are relying on the application usage of analytics, be it from retailing to market research, financial institutions emphasizing on application of analytics, the pharmaceutical R&D, the fraud and risk sections of banking and insurance firms, the healthcare, the manufacturing, and many more allied areas are no exception to understanding and implementation of analytics. While each industry vertical has their own discovery on their organizational business process data by integrating with analytics. Thus, analytics has now become a common instrument and a pivotal driving force for innovation across organizations. But analytics has to work on the organizational data set. That's why I say, participants, data is the first class citizen of any organization, I say. Data is pivotal and a game changer. When data shakes hand with analytics, a lot of knowledge patterns can be extracted by proper synthesis and analysis. Now, how do decision-making process has a correlation or coherence with analytics? While effective and efficient decisions are those which are time-bound, which really drive organizations towards a solution from a complex problem. However, if you try to strike the relationship between time that organizations really take to make a decision across the business value that the decision adds to, is a great challenge. Typically, globally, the world has agreed upon the fact that Most of the organizations are withdrawn by the global competition due to the lack of capability and maturity of the organization and the teams in identifying right decisions at the right time. That's why the latency, time required to make a decision, should be as low as possible. At the same time, the decision taken should be of high quality, leading to the success of the organization. The higher the time taken for decision making, the higher the time will be taken for actionable implementation and result. That's why organizations should re-engineer, transform themselves to move towards ability to make effective decisions at the right time. But how does information technology, modern emerging technology practices in place, using the legacy IT and the modern IT, how do organizations find their opportunities in generating operational decisions? As we all know, the hierarchy of organizations, right from the top level management strategic leaders, the middle level tactical managers, and the operational executives, all these need to stay in line in order to make an effective functioning of the organization. While IT undoubtedly is used at different levels of the organization at varied capacities, how does analytical IT can really drive the businesses by empowering them to make right decisions? To address this question, if you look at the conventional organizations participants that we are living in and are mostly working with, what we call legacy systems. While every organization is rich in terms of its goals, objectives, business processes, and people power. Besides this, a stringent regulatory, statutory framework. While a lot of organizational policies, regulations, and a lot of professional expertise people are all the assets, indispensable assets of the organization. Today, organizations are also adding an extra element to their asset called the historical data. Historical data, that data that has been timely generated by organizations from different processes, business processes, and are recorded and kept for future reference. The challenge here is, how do organizations discover new rules of business that can leverage on the historical data patterns and spearhead towards a new data-driven world? At the core of all these assets, if you see, policy and regulation, expertise, human basis, all core IT processes are all centered, are all consolidated towards a common objective, that is how all these assets can empower business decisions, how effective these assets can make efficient decisions together. This is a continual research, and organizations have been investing their efforts by time and by dimension and space to achieve this excellence. While analytics exists as a very generic term, its dimensions that are spread out in the real world cater to different phenomenon in the IT called business intelligence, as a very polished word, data mining from a scientific nomenclature, and in the modern world and the tech era, nothing but the predictive analytics. While organizations are all striving and thriving towards extraction and synthesis of knowledge, that is, deriving meaningful descriptions from complex, voluminous, and varied data, all the efforts would be to translate and transform that knowledge into what we call an actionable decision. That is, from a description of knowledge pattern to a prescription of an action is where now the organizations globally are striving actually. By name, there are many terms participants of analytics. Each one exhibits in their own capacity of the action that they do. But all of them, be it BI or data mining or analytics, all have a common goal to empower decision making. But how do decisions are derived with analytics? Where do we start with our journey? As we said, the pivotal element of any organization here is the data item itself. Without any doubt, data are abundantly generated in organizations, primarily due to business processes and people. The secondary source of data, tertiary source and other sources of data is through technological means. We are powered today by internet, social media, and many other technological driven forces. Fortunately, all these elements are adding value to rich generation of data. How do organizations prepare themselves for today and tomorrow to extract those data insights, leverage analytics on those insights, and gain something hidden which has never been discovered by them so far, and how to put forward those analytical knowledge insights for their future actionable decision making? That's why the analytics of data is a new science of discovery that emphasizes organizations to look into analyzing raw data. Raw data are nothing but the facts and figures that organizations would otherwise generate day-to-day timely. If you look at the data analytics pipeline, what we call in industry or in the research, a data analytics activity starts all with gathering or collecting data points. These data points need to be related to a predefined problem statement that are centered around a definite objective. While raw data that are collected might be incomplete, incorrect, noisy, and many other crude characteristics. That's why an essential prerequisite for performing data analytics is to refine the data. While refining data itself is a very critical step in analytics, like the essential activities that are carried out by an observer here include data pre-processing, data cleaning, data integration, and even if required, data transformation also. Thus, from a crude format to a very refined format, data are then migrated and stored on a centralized collection, typically a corporate data warehouse, on which the necessary analytical actions are performed. Data are then translated into a report format, which are presentable to the organization. Now, by concept of theory, this framework looks very exciting, but how can we achieve this practically? Every organization generates raw data. Every organization would end converting the raw data into what we typically call insights. But the intermediary steps that are included cover such as understanding the business processes and the data that the processes generate, trying to transform or prepare the data into a format which is suitable for analysis, visualization, and modeling, and then lay the emphasis towards discovery of hidden patterns among data, what typically are called insights. Organizations that are now striving towards generating insights from the raw data can also leverage their capability maturity on foresight also. That's why at level 1, analytical experiments at an organization would focus essentially on turning raw data into insights and thereby spearheading the organization to foresight also. This is called the data analysis life cycle for any organization. How to achieve this endless life cycle? While data is the ingredient, the turmoil, we need some assistance from the technology counterpart that otherwise could understand the data because of the complexities of its volume, variety, and veracity. Certain kind of technological base is also workbench is required. In the world of experiments with tech platforms, there are many products which are available from the IT world for you participants. Some are open source platforms, while other are licensed tools. The enterprises user platforms need to determine the size and complexity of the data challenges that they are going to address towards decision making. Accordingly, they can choose their required and comfortable platform for experiment. Popular platforms for data analytics include the SAS, Statistical Analysis System, Statistical Package for Social Sciences from IBM, Tableau, Visual Analytics Software from Tableau itself, IBM's Premium SPSS Modeler, enterprise minor. And from the open source community, if you see the statistical R language, the analytical Python programming, many more are there in place. A very important point and humble appeal to all the esteemed participants here is technologies rise and fall. They might lie today and they might expire. They might become volatile. What lies at the core of decision making is essentially the component of data itself. While technology is a catalyst that fastens up the process of data analysis, one can choose between a variety of technologies, but the actual focus should be emphasis should be on the data component. Given this basic exposure, we would now like to take you all on a journey with a case study on how could analytics of data can really help an organization in business decision making. For this case, we have chosen the banking and finance industry, and especially the retail banking segment for the demonstration. So the case study is how could data analytics help the retail bank marketing teams to yield critical insights for effective decision making. If you see, participants, data analytics has become a greater driver of innovation in banking industry. Historically, analytics has been proving its prominence from the last 4 to 5 years globally across the world in addressing typical challenges such as offering valuable customer support, identifying risk factors that would land the bank systems in a greater degree of challenges, empower the banking and financial divisions at all areas of decision making, and not only this, cross innovation opportunities by studying the product versus customer profiles and finding new market opportunities, and many more are all the outcomes of this analytical implementations with the data in banking. With analytics, especially retail banking has learned its own lessons with journey on how several critical challenges can be resolved with ease when properly analytics have been applied, while minimizing risk and maximizing profitability and sustainability. There are many agreed upon facts how data analytics added value to retail banking. We live in a tech world. Our everyday discovery begins with search engines, social media, internet. Especially if we talk about banking and technology, most of us, the global world of customers today, as we all know, we are doing internet banking, mobile banking, online. All our purchases, transactions that we do are at the core of IT. Thus, there is a lot of opportunity for this banking sector to generate transactional data from the records that customer and product generate. How could that data be leveraged properly for future sustainability and growth? And how could banks actually discover their science behind the data to handle typical complex challenges like risk and fraud minimization, maximizing customer feedback and satisfaction are all the byproducts of applications of analytics on data in retail banking. In the current scenario, on the case study, we are going to highlight about, are banks facing any stiff challenge, especially in the retail banking segment? How banks are facing a stiff competition in the public and private sector in recommending a suitable product to a customer? When banks try to market any product, should they consider the time of marketing? Also, is the channel of communicating, channel means a telephonic call, an email message delivery, or an SMS message. Irrespective of the type of channel for communication, what is the most effective channel to contact a customer? To address these regular routine questions, how do banks need to look into the implementation of data analytics? Can banks merely need to, because they have abundant IT practices like MIS systems, ERP systems, legacy systems are already in place. Why should they move? Why should they spearhead, transform towards yet another very happening phenomenon of analytics behind data? The problem statement that currently that we are going to put forward with all the participants is, the data has been collected from certain marketing campaigns of a banking institution. Typically, banking institutions either outsource the job of contacting customers to third-party institutions, or they would take by themselves. Whatever is the scenario, the marketing teams, imagined by telemarketing if we consider, are, for example, assumed to reach out to the existing customer base and try to discover their opportunities by offering certain innovative products. In this scenario, the bank is trying to sell a term deposit product. A term deposit, as very well known to most of you probably, is a financial product that encourages the bank customers to invest their money for a certain time period and earn a rate of interest. From a psychological point of view, a very commonly known fact is we would invest our money in that bank that probably pays a higher rate of interest. But due to the stiff competition and a myriad of challenges in the finance segment, banks are always lying at certain threshold that they cannot go beyond certain rate. Customers obviously would assess that rate of interest on a comparative basis and would likely to invest on that financial institution product which pays them better, which gives a better ROI, return on investment. Now, given these challenges, how could bank address this issue? How could they draw attention of the customer and turn them into subscribers for their term deposit product? To address this issue, the bank is relying on certain data that they have captured, which includes several parameters for research, namely marital status of the customer, job designation of the bank customer, the method employed for contacting, education level of the customer, and so on and so forth. And the target variable here is when contacted, the customer was asked whether he or she is interested to buy the term deposit or not. Favorable responses are designated with the label yes. Unfavorable responses were designated as no. That means some of the customers replied after the marketer communicated about term deposit by favorably responding yes. Others have unfavorably responded no, they don't want to buy the term deposit or invest their money. Given this scenario in front of us, our aim here is, can we do some analytics behind the data that would help the bank and financial institution how to draw better customers towards their product and service? How to address the challenge? What else has to be done by the banking besides legacy, conventional, monolithic practices? Because marketing campaigns can take place through any means. Assessing the effectiveness of the campaign, identifying the challenges, identifying the critical missing things, and then accordingly making right decisions can only make the financial institutions move towards sustainability. Given a scenario, participants in front of you, consider a bank is handling 2 lakh customers. That is, currently the transaction base has got 2 lakh customers. Assuming that a call made by the telecaller to a bank customer explaining about the term deposit product cost $5. So the bank has formulated a marketing budget, for instance, $1 million. Also, historically proved that if a bank successfully sells the term deposit to a customer, the ROI bank gets, the profit bank gets is $100. But for every 10 calls that were made, only 1 customer could have said yes, while the remaining 9 would have said no. Because most of you might have experienced telecallers contacting you occasionally or regularly, trying to offer you personal loans, credit card facilities, and so on and so forth. If the product actually is needed by the customer, then only customer shows the enthusiasm. Unfortunately, banks are trying to go on an experimental basis, trying to contact every profile, assuming that the product is suitable, and then they're learning their own lessons. Given this scenario, if we were given a user base of 1 lakh customers, bank is giving us to randomly contact 1 lakh customers and expecting us to generate a sale value of 10,000. Now, if I plot a graph between number of customers contacted on x-axis, as you're seeing in the scenario, and the percentage of success that banks could achieve was plotted on y-axis, participants, right? How could banks really strike a correlation between number of customers contacted and success they achieved? Try to look at the blue color line I have drawn, the straight line, which is the hypothetical baseline model in banking industry, which says that The higher the number of customers that are contacted, the better would be returns. Now, observe these participants and tell me how many of you believe in this hypothetical model. That is, if I contact 20,000 customers, I would get a 20% success. If I contact a 40,000 customer, I would get a 40% success. So higher the number of customers contacted, more is the returns. The question to all the participants is, how many of you agree with this hypothetical model? If you agree, you can reply with yes. If you disagree, please reply with no. So to get a revenue of 80 million, I should contact 180. Great, we're getting some responses. Insha Sheikh ji says yes. Dr. Vidita ji says yes. While Somasundaram ji says no. Great, sir. Srikanth also says yes. Thank you, participants, for your quick responses and great participation. Great. If the more people are contacted, more returns come. I humbly might also think along with my moderator that this webinar might not be required. But businesses go by probability, I say. While according to Bayes-Chen, the founder statistician said that the likelihood of an event matters, the probability matters. If we contact 100,000 customers, we might get 100% success is always a chance. Events happen by chance, I say. That's why, in contrary to the blue color baseline model, today from the IT industry, we are offering analytical banking. The analytical model, the red color line, if you see, always aims at if the profit gained by the bank after contacting 100,000 customers is around 50 million, why not the bank could increase the profit to above 50, at least 60, 70, 80 million by contacting again same 100,000 customer? Is it not possible for the bank to achieve a success rate of above 50 by contacting a customer base of 100,000 or even more? Then how to achieve it? Analytics says that prevention is better than cure. Identify the root causes of what makes the customer say either yes or no towards a term deposit subscription and accordingly contact. Segment your customer, create target customer segments, study their profile and interest, taste and preferences. All these knowledge synthesis comes from the analytics behind the data itself. Now, to unleash this, unlock the value, let me present to you participants a very quick illustration with the tool. Now I'm sharing my tool here. Participants, please confirm. Can you see my analytics tool? I'm using analytics tool here called Tableau for your information for doing the data analytics and business. Thank you, Dr. Vidita. I'm using a data as my asset here, an Excel-based Excel format data. I'm connecting my Excel workbook here. So I'm drilling down my data here. There is a set of randomly selected sample of bank customers for this experiment. Now I could connect my data source here. Tableau is a popularly known business intelligence and data analytics tool found to be the global leader in the market for data analytics. So Tableau disseminates the properties of the data into two things: dimensions, which are non-numerical items, and measures, which are numerical items. Most of the real-world data are numeric, followed by non-numeric measures. Now we are interested to study certain exciting things on this data. Tableau essentially represents all data as pictorial patterns. The basic fundamental format of knowledge inference in Tableau is using the pictorial representation because a picture is worth than 1,000 words, as we know. Our efforts are first spend some time on deriving analytical insights for the bank from the given data. So to keep all alert on how the data looks like, I am sharing the glimpses of my data with you all. Participants, please confirm. Can you see a copy of my data that I'm working on? I have shared my Excel workbook with you all live. The data includes certain properties like age of the customer, the job designation of the customer, marital status like married, single, and divorced. These are all the natural characteristics of the customers who are being contacted by the telemarketer in the bank. Then defaulter or not, has a own house or not, method of contact employed by the bank, the month during which a contact was made, the day of the week during which the contact was made, call duration, right? The call duration was also being given. And finally, if you see the output variable, that is deposit, whether no or yes, customers are replying no or yes. Given this basic data sample, how could we drill down by applying analytics? So I will just quickly walk through some of the patterns in the possible time. Now, hypothetically speaking, you recommend your input parameters. How many of you think that the education level of a customer would be a critical factor in making a decision about buying a term deposit or not? So let's examine that. What I do is I'll drag my education into the row shell, and I'm interested to study the outcome variable deposit. Deposit has two categories, namely yes and no, as you could see here. I'll just apply some aggregation measures in Tableau using some statistics participants here. So I could typically get some bar graph here. So I'll just put it for colorification. I'll just try to produce a very different chart here. I'll go for a clustered bar. This is a clustered bar. I hope all of you are able to see. Observe the graph, participants, and just let me know from your observation. The x-axis is about the education level of the bank customer, while the y-axis is the number of responses. I have shared Tableau. Can you please confirm the Tableau screen is visible to all of you now? Is it clear? Ladies and gentlemen, can you see? Yes, thank you. Now you could clearly see I have broken down my data into yes and no categories by education. Observe the yes categories because we are interested in favorable cases, as you know. In yes category, which level of education more favorably responded? You could see the legends briefing the data patterns at the right. You could see the tallest bar corresponds to those bank customers who possess a university degree education, have more favorably responded. But at the same time, if you see the no cases, again, it is same university degree customers, holders, who have more unfavorably responded, right? So this is how you drill down, try to derive the correlations among the data. This activity typically called the exploratory data analysis, which is a preliminary stage under data analytics. Right. Now, I'll try to add more patterns here. I'll try to see the next sheet I'm adding here. I'm interested to study whether day of the week does have any effect or not. Right? To keep it simple, participants, do you believe day of week for a business process matters or not? Because banks would really operate from weekdays to weekends, right? So do you think that day of the week can be a game changer? Is Monday and Tuesday to Wednesday, so on, the business management differs? Let us derive that. Day of the week I'm drawing in the, yes. Day of the week, I am drawing in the rows and trying to check how it is going to affect the deposit pattern, right? I am doing one more exercise, participants, to derive the analytical insight. Yes, you're right, Sunita ji. A lot depends on, of course, business, right? But in our case, we are talking about this use case of a retail bank marketing. So I would like to apply some statistical aggregation here. And I would like to add some color schemes for better eye-catching and stunning visualization. And I'm interested to study the pattern, the dependencies. I would like to study the dependencies here. Circles. The days of the week are being captured. Now, if you could see here, just a second. Yes. Just go for a stacked bar. Yes. Day of the week, right? Day of the week, default. Deposit, I'll put it in colors. Yes, that works fine. Now I'll change it to a circle graph and notice it here. What do you notice, participants? The days of the week are on x-axis and the response of the buyers are on y-axis. While the orange color bubbles, what you're seeing on my screen, if you could observe the legends there, the orange ones depict the yes favorable responses and the no one represent unfavorable responses. So clearly, banks could learn with the application of analytics on the data that certain days of week are highly critical and significant in business progression, while certain days are really challenging. Like if this analytics behind, the science behind the data was never looked upon, banks and other financial institutions would have taken it granted that all days of the week are quite similarly significant, which is not truth. Hypothetically, all days are right, agreed upon. But analytically, when driven, the knowledge pattern, hidden insights are generated. A lot of truth, rich knowledge synthesis comes out when we apply. Going forward, banks can drill down, slice and dice the data with all these kind of nominal implementations, and we could make the bank move towards what we call this. So I hope all of you could understand, right, and where exactly we are moving. In Shashekji, trend analysis can be done once we have a certain time parameter in the data set. Typically, seasonality and trend analysis in analytics come into play when the data set has certain time parameters bound over it. Yeah. So if you just recall, like the discussions that we are doing here so far in the discussion on the application of analytics, right? I hope you all can see my presentation, participants. Please confirm I'm back to my presentation again. Right? This is where I am. Yes. I would like to share, after a little insight and a little journey, should organizations prepare their next step towards data-driven leadership? Do you all agree with me? Those organizations that leverage, that vest their efforts and time in data-driven activities are the future leaders. That's why the current phenomenon and the new normal is data-driven decision making. Decision making should be centered, cornered around data-driven activities. So I would like to thank all our esteemed participants who have shown the enthusiasm, listened to me very patiently on the activity. Now the floor is open for a quick question and answer. Maheswara Reddy sir, the moderator, you can just open the floor for quick question and answer, sir. Yeah. Thank you, Sanita ji. Maheshwar sir, if you are there, you can open the floor. Participants, you are now welcome to pose your questions in the chat. If you have any questions around the topics, discussions done so far, the illustrations that were demonstrated. Any questions are welcome. Yeah, Dr. Sindhuji asked, can you suggest any learning platform? Yes. Tableau, the product comes from tableau.com, madam, itself. Tableau.com offers you, this is a licensed tool for information. This initially is available on an evaluation basis for 14-day free trial. But if you're an academician and a researcher, Tableau offers their academic licenses for students and faculty fraternity on a 365-day basis. You can use it. Please visit tableau.com website and you can visit the support center and write an email about the requirement. They will extend the Tableau software usage for a 1-year free license. Other than Tableau, we also have in industry several other business intelligence tools called Microsoft Power BI, offered again as a licensed tool from Microsoft Corporation. These tools are for beginners who want to do data analytics without any coding. If you want to do no coding or low coding data analytics business intelligence, I recommend Tableau and Power BI apart from other market leaders. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Vidita.
Yeah, thank you, Mohan. Participants are saying that excellent sessions are an extended session should be planned. Any reading material which can be referred on this topic. This is the query raised by some Vidita Sinha.
Yeah.
Please, Mohan, answer this.
Yes, Dr. Vidita, we could just look into your query, madam, and definitely we would try to work out on this. If any definite reading material is there from our side through AIMS, proper channel will be routing to it. Power BI and Tableau more or less same. Yes. Basically, Power BI and Tableau are called as business intelligence tools that will help us to do data analytics in real time. How to take decision-making process in entrepreneur business out and lies. Whether it is an entrepreneur business or enterprise itself, Dr. Mohammadji, the application of analytics always lies with the data-centric nature. So
one more query, difference between PCA and factor analysis.
I think, sir, you can answer.
Surendra, you can answer better than you can answer.
See, both principal component analysis and factor analysis actually come under the area of unsupervised learning, Surendra ji, where the researcher and observer are trying to derive which parameters in the data are critical for affecting the outcome. See, certain predictors, certain explanatory variables have inherent correlations among them. Together, how they derive the dependencies, data relationships can be better explained by PC and factor. The essence lies at the rotation of the data. Different methods of rotation, PC and factor analysis would employ for better pattern mining.
One more query from Dr. TK Mandal.
Yeah, Mandal.
Is there any reading material on features or manual?
Dr. Mandal, it is a good question. For Tableau and reading material, there is a lot of abundant material available for you on the tableau.com website documentation, sir, and Power BI also. Published material documentation officially available on both websites. You can once visit tableau.com and powerbi.com. Abundant reading material, both organizations are publishing for their learners to improve the business and entrepreneurship. Yes, Dr. Mohammed Jahangir, again, to analyze the business, right? As I said, whether it is entrepreneurship or enterprise, organizational enterprises, the application of analytics, because data is a common ingredient in both cases, analytics finds its space in its applications. Over to you, Dr. Maheswara Reddy, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mohan, sir, for addressing all the queries on behalf of the AIMS participants in the webinar. So it's a great session and informative session and wonderful session being told by all participants. Really, I'm very happy. I learned a lot of things from your session. And so it's customary to say a vote of thanks at the closure of the session. So it is really a privilege for me in the virtual platform as a moderator and moderating the sessions between the speaker and the participants of the AIMS virtual session on the topic of data analytics for business decision making. It's an opportunity for me to say thanks to the AIMS, the board of AIMS, president, members of the AIMS, and regional vice president of the AIMS, Dr. P. Maheswara Reddy, who is instrumental in today's session. Without his efforts in today's session, it might not be fruitful for both ends. So it's a high time to say something about the Dr. P. Maheswara Reddy. He is the Director General of ICBM, Hyderabad. Previously, he was the Director of NITHM. Thank you, Dr. P. Maheswara Reddy, for giving this opportunity for us as a speaker and moderator, and also for all the participants. And we are very much thankful to you, sir. And we are very much thankful to all members of the AIMS. And we are also very much thankful to the Secretary of AIMS, all technical support people of AIMS, whoever by name. We are profusely saying thanks to all the members behind this virtual session. And finally, without participants, today's session is not meaningful. So I am very happy that all participants are immensely involved in the session and asking very informative questions to the speaker, and speaker also replying the very excellent answer. And speaker has got good feedback from all the participants. And participants are asking more this kind of sessions in the forthcoming sessions of the AIMS. Definitely, this will be bringing to the notice of the AIMS people, like Regional Vice President of AIMS, Dr. P. Maheswara Reddy. And we are very much thankful to all the participants showing their interest in this kind of sessions and involving in these sessions and paying their attention, giving their time for the success of today's AIMS virtual meeting on the data analytics for business decision making. With this vote of thanks, so we are going to close this session.
I would like to sincerely thank the AIMS family, the President, Vice President, Secretary, and to all members, the moderator, all our esteemed participants who have shown enthusiasm opening up to this webinar on data analytics for business decision making.
And I missed the president of the AIMS also having a good opinion about this thing. So we are very much thankful to the president of the AIMS also.
Yeah. Thanks for the privilege, family AIMS.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you all participants for your wonderful participation. We know the time is quite quick and less, but we will try to take forward this much better journeys. Thank you, Dr. Maheswara Reddy, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohan.